Hey everybody, 8-Bit Josh here, and welcome back to Aurora Zoo, and we have some new updates for you, so I hope you're excited. Last episode, we looked at our fancy new parking lot here, and if you missed it, definitely recommend go checking out that video, but here's just a quick, simple little overview of our parking lot. I think it turned out really good. You might recognize these buses, they're from the Planet Zoo workshop. I'm gonna actually use these. I'm gonna put the guest spawner in at least one bus, maybe in both buses. I'll probably move this one over here. But yeah, that's kind of the plan, how we're gonna get the guests into the park, because currently the guest spawner has been taken out, so even if the zoo was open, we wouldn't get any guests. And I like to walk through the lodge to get to the actual part of the zoo, because I just think it's, I don't know, it's so fun to walk through, and I love how like detailed everything is. But we saw this in the last episode, so we have the double doors here. We come out, and I gave you a sneak peek at the monorail. The building is now finally complete, and I think it looks pretty good. One thing you might notice is like it is really close to the lodge. One thing that I want to do with this zoo is I want everything to be like much more compact. I don't want it to be like squished together and look like cramped. I just want things to be closer together, and because Wildlife World, it got so big, and I think I can do a better job at just making it more compact and everything kind of just fitting together better. But I'm really happy with how the inside turned out. Again, keeping with that kind of rustic theme. Lots of wood, stone. In this case, I used some of the temple pieces from the South America pack. And I really like the monorail up here, kind of hidden behind the glass, and just got some, you know, a few decorations in here, a little seating area. Of course, we have a Chief Beef and a Gulpy, looking pretty good. And the cool thing is, you can't see the path because I used the concrete roof piece for the floor, but the path actually does just go right through the doors here, so the guests won't be clipping through the sides at all. So I'm pretty happy with that. I was able to kind of get the design of the building to work around that. And again, doing the double doors because it was mentioned that in cold climates, buildings a lot of times have double doors to keep the cold out from the building. So I'm gonna do stuff like this as much as I can throughout the zoo. And yeah, I think it looks pretty good. The only thing I wasn't quite sure about, and you guys can let me know, should I do some sort of like, obviously it wouldn't move, but I was thinking of doing like some glass doors maybe on either side of the monorail here, because it would get pretty cold in here as people are kind of getting on and off the ride. Also for like the ride operator, well, they don't have ride operators like Planet Coaster, so that guy down there is going to be fine. But I don't know, I just thought it would be a little, again, adding to the realism, the fact that we're in a super cold, snowy climate, to have as many doors on the buildings as possible. You know, I don't want to have like too many just like open spaces like that. But yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So the monorail just right now is kind of coming out this way because I'm going to be planning for expansion in that direction. And then I imagine it's going to at some point loop back around to over here. So there's that part of it. And I like how it looks. It still looks rustic. It looks a little bit more modern, I guess, just because of the shape. But I think it still fits. It looks good with the trees around it. And again, because of the way that I'm using the heaters, you know, you still got all the trees back here that are completely covered in snow, but then the ones over here are a little bit less covered up. In this little corner, we added a little frozen pond because if you're familiar with Wildlife World and what we did in that zoo, you know that I'm a big fan and we're a big fan of doing water features. And I want to do water features in Aurora Zoo, but if they're going to be outside, they're going to have to be frozen, right? Like, this place is obviously very, very cold, and a pond like this wouldn't be liquid water in this kind of area. So I used the ice rocks, actually, and then some of the snow rocks to kind of make it appear like snow is accumulated on the ice itself. But I think it's looking pretty good. We did a little tiger sign there. Maybe it looks like he's gonna jump onto the ice, I suppose. But it just seems like it makes sense to me that if we're gonna have any water features outside, that they're gonna have to be frozen. If we have big enough indoor buildings that can fit a water feature, those could be just like a regular pond or whatever, have liquid water in it. But I just think this really adds to the whole vibe of the area that we're in. And then finally, as you probably guessed, we have our first habitat. And yes, we do have the tigers in the habitat. So this is our Bengal tiger habitat. It's indoor, and I did the theme of like what our zoo is going to be on the front of this building, so that it's kind of like this is what the guests see, and it keeps with the theme. It's very fitting. If you're down here in the guest level, you can't actually see the habitat building behind it, but I kept the habitat building a little bit more I feel realistic. It's like kind of just a concrete building, because I feel like that's kind of like in zoos, the animal habitats, they're just very simple, and they're made to be like easy to clean, but sort of the guest facing part of it is nicely themed. Added a little touch of the Indian theme up here just to kind of bring it together, because they are the Bengal tigers. And again, I did the double doors, so as you go in, you don't have to worry about the cold, frigid temperatures coming in here. And then we walk in, we're greeted with a nice little tiger thing, and then, oh, there's one of our tigers now. They're running around, and now he's laying down. But this is a fairly simple like viewing platform. We've done similar things like this in Wildlife World, so I'm kind of just keeping with the same idea. But the indoor habitat is fairly new concept, at least for this channel. I don't recall Wildlife World didn't really have. It had some like covered spots, but nothing that was 100% enclosed. At least that I can remember, right? I don't think anything was 100% enclosed, but I'm really happy with this. It's actually built on the side of a hill that leads up to that mountaintop, which I need to put trees on that mountain, but it was suggested during the live stream, which, by the way, if you aren't following me on Twitch, I do stream Planet Zoo every Saturday and Sunday. It's always a really good time. Highly recommend checking it out, giving the channel a follow. The link to my Twitch channel is always in the description below. But one of the viewers suggested that I do a glass wall and ceiling back here so that you can see the mountain. You get to, oh, nice jump, tiger. You get to see sort of the frozen outside from in here. And it's like a really cool, just like a really cool mix of different sceneries. Like you have the frigid, frozen tundra out there, and then in here it's like warm and tropical. I also added this like kind of little ramp up here, which I thought would be fun. That pumpkin needs cleaned up, but I thought that would be really fun as you're a guest, and like the tigers can like come right up next to the glass. I just thought that would be really cool. But as far as this habitat goes, I mean, it's fairly simple. It's got everything that you would need for a tiger habitat. Lots of kind of little climbing things, some ramps here or there. Again, doing the natural water feature. And actually, this is a pretty decent size. I think one of the things I did in Wildlife World is made some of the habitats a little too big. I think this one is very nice, and because it's enclosed, it's like it's big, but it's not too big. It also looks good at night. Don't do a lot of lighting in the habitat itself, but we did some, like a little bit of accent lighting around the back walls there, just to add a little bit. And oh man, look how cool that is. You can see the Aurora Borealis kind of going. That is really cool. And then we have just some simple lighting in here. I actually had some lights on the ceiling up here, but when we looked at this at nighttime like this, you can actually see a light reflecting on the glass there. That's these floor lights. But they were actually, the lights that we had up here were reflecting on the glass, and it like made it actually kind of hard to see through. So I took those out, and it seems good enough. Like, I think it's bright enough with these floor lights here that there's probably enough lighting for the guests. But yeah, this is looking pretty good at nighttime. Very simple. Seeing the Aurora Borealis through the glass there is super awesome. And then we have one final update, so we'll go out this way. So again, going with the double doors. I did get our first staff area in here as well. Oh, we got a little sign up there, so you can come on up here. So our staff only. We did stuff like this in Wildlife World with just a simple kind of like little arch there. And again, this is also very simple, trying to keep it with the theme of the zoo, so it's very rustic looking. I might add a little bit of extra detailing around up here, like on the roof and whatnot, but trying to just like, I instead of doing the theme we did with the staff areas in Wildlife World, where they were kind of the more industrial metal looking buildings, we're probably going to go with something more like this, with the wooden walls from the Arctic Pack, or maybe the log walls. I don't know that we'll stick with just using the same wall type for everything, but well, when I say everything, I mean staff areas, but maybe we will, I don't know. And again, I have heaters here, but they're sunken under, and I use the same trick I mentioned in the last episode, where I keep them at 3 degrees Celsius, so that just leaves like this little dusting of snow. And I think it just really adds to the overall effect. Added lots of trees here, so it kind of blocks the view from the guests. They can't really see too much in there. I like the glass panels on the sides here, even though if you're a guest, you can't really see in. It's more for the guests inside and for the tigers, because it just lets in more natural light. So there we are. This is where we are in. Now you can see, yes, Aurora Zoo we are expanding into the zoo. We got the entrance area all done. It took 2 episodes, but we got there. And yeah, we already have a monorail building, and we have our first habitat, and of course it's the Bengal tigers. I think so the plan is, instead of doing, we're not doing areas themed to each continent, I might do areas that are themed to similar animals. So I think this is going to sort of be like a big cats area. So we're going to have the Bengal tigers, lions, jaguars, and cheetahs. Can't do the snow leopard, unfortunately, because as you know, in this zoo, we are only doing animals that like warm temperatures, which is kind of a bummer, because I didn't use the snow leopards in Wildlife World, and I really do like them. They're a really cool animal, but so yeah, unfortunately, we won't be able to use them in Aurora Zoo, but we do have those other big cats that we can do. So there you go. There we have it. There is the most recent update to Aurora Zoo. Have our fantastic Bengal tiger. So, I'm going to leave this episode here. As always, be sure to leave your comments, suggestions, and feedback down below. Oh, what's happening? What's going on? What? He's moonwalking. He's moonwalking and going through objects. Oh my gosh, what is happening? Don't even know. Okay. We have ourselves a magic tiger. Oh, there we go. All right. I think he's got it sorted out. All right. Well, anyway, like I said, be sure to leave your comments, suggestions, and feedback down below. I am 8-Bit Josh, and thanks for watching. See ya.